Hello everyone, welcome back to another discussion video. I kinda didn't want to talk about this, but people obviously still have interest in like Max and Chloe, and there were rumors talking about this. I even noticed like some other YouTubers like still talking about this, so I figured it really wouldn't be a big deal if I talked about it again, so I hope you guys don't mind if I'm repeating myself at this point. But we're gonna be talking about Life is Strange, the fourth game, so this was a discussion I really didn't want to talk about just because we have True Colors coming, which is the third Life is Strange game, and I feel like this discussion is a little bit inappropriate considering the True Colors spin-off hasn't even come out yet, but considering that there's still interest and there's been like a little bit more hints towards like Max and Chloe still being cared about with the fact that there's going to be a Remastered coming out, I figured it would be an appropriate time to talk about it. So in case you guys don't know, there were rumors about Life is Strange having Max and Chloe return in like the next Life is Strange game after True Colors, and so what this would mean is that choices would be retcon in the first Life is Strange game. I'm pretty sure they would still matter, but they probably will do something like weird with like the comic books where maybe they have like alternative, like Max messes up the timeline again or something like that. I'm not sure, but the comics seem to have like canon endings from what I've seen, sort of. Like I said, sort of, because Rachel Amber I think is in the comics, so she's a thing apparently, and she's obviously dead, so that's why I figured this would be like really interesting for them to make another Life is Strange game, just because you can have Max and Chloe return and you can have Max like somehow mess up the timeline again, and then Rachel is like still alive or something, and they're like a trio. I personally have not read the comics, so I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about the comics, if it's good or not. I heard from friends that it's pretty good, the comics, and they do a really good job making a sequel. Like, it feels like a legitimate sequel to like Life is Strange. But anyways, I want to talk about the possibility if Deck 9 Games could make the next Life is Strange game, and to give my thoughts and opinions about it. So obviously Dontnod made the original Life is Strange game, and from what we know, I don't think Dontnod owns the property. Considering Deck 9 Games were able to make them True Colors and have a returning character Steph, even though Steph was in their game, still I think it is possible for Deck 9 Games to make the next Life is Strange game. It'd be a little bit weird because obviously Dontnod was the one who created Life is Strange originally, but they clearly have no interest in the Life is Strange franchise anymore, so I'm guessing Square Enix just gave them the rights to the Life is Strange franchise, and so they're basically just doing that. But with True Colors, I definitely see that as an experiment at the moment, because they could have easily made Max and Chloe sequel, obviously, but I think Deck 9 Games really wanted to test out kind of like what Dontnod did with Life is Strange 2, to where they want to make like an original game and like do something really different. So that's something that I applaud Deck 9 Games for doing. They kind of did this with Before the Storm, but the issue with Before the Storm is that it's a prequel and they're trying to satisfy Life is Strange 1 fans. Not as an insult, but they obviously wanted to like make a fun prequel and to learn more about Rachel Amber, who we really didn't get to know in the first game at all. We've only heard a couple lines about her from Chloe and just hints in the game. So clearly they were limited, and what I mean when I say they're limited is that usually prequels have them limited to like where certain characters can't die or have powers, for example. Like, for example, it would have been cool if Chloe had powers, but in terms of story, it wouldn't make sense in the first game because Chloe never showed that she had any powers, so she never had any powers. So, and we know that Chloe and Rachel don't die in Before the Storm because they can determinately die in the first game. So that's something that I find really interesting, and they did a really good job making like a fun prequel, and I personally enjoy Before the Storm. It's like my favorite game ever from the Life is Strange game. But yeah, it's really interesting to see that basically Before the Storm was really them like testing waters. Obviously there was no powers in that game, which made it a little bit disappointing, but it still was a really fun game to begin with. Now with True Colors, they can do whatever the heck they want because that's their own creation. They actually made the characters and like the setting, and they're going for like a Life is Strange 2 kind of environment, except it's like in one place. So we're gonna be staying in Old Haven, I believe it's called, and throughout the whole games, that's what it's gonna be about. So that's personally what I find really interesting about that, and I'm really excited about that. But with True Colors, obviously that's going to be a test, and obviously Arcadia Bay can either be destroyed or not destroyed, so I would assume that if we would have a Max and Chloe sequel, it would definitely have something new where it basically will obviously have a new town. It won't be Arcadia Bay unless they have a rebuilt Arcadia Bay. Maybe they could do something where Max and Chloe are like rebuilding the town and it's a little bit built. Now, we're talking about a town that's destroyed and a town that's not destroyed, so obviously it could be possible that they could still have Arcadia Bay, but they can have like an alternative timeline of Arcadia Bay to like where Max fucked up the timeline and everything doesn't make sense. That's what I personally think could happen. That's what makes sense to me. Obviously Max has these powers. She might as well like mess up the timeline somehow, and that could be a story. So I personally would love to see Max and Chloe return, but obviously we don't know if they're gonna do that. It's just a little bit weird because obviously the rumors were right about True Colors, and the rumors were right about Life is Strange port, sort of. Not really. They never talked about it being remastered, but considering it got remastered, it definitely shows that Dontnod Games still has interest in like the original Life is Strange franchise, because if you look in the remaster, it's only Life is Strange 1 and Before the Storm that's being remastered. It's no other game. So they clearly want to like satisfy the fans and maybe do something different with True Colors. But there could be parts of like where they could be hinting towards a Max and Chloe sequel. Now, it's not announced yet, of course. This is just a rumor. I do think it could happen one day, just because there's a lot of interest in the original Life is Strange, which is a good and bad thing. I think it's fine for people to accept or not accept, but like I think it's fine for them to like enjoy the original Life is Strange and like what made Life is Strange truly special. It was definitely the relationship between Max and Chloe's friendship. But obviously, I don't like the idea of people just like hating on like the other games just because it doesn't have Max and Chloe. You can dislike them, it's fine, but you should at least give them a chance, in my opinion, and then you can decide if they're good or bad. So that's basically my thoughts and opinions. I know Dontnod said that they weren't gonna continue Max and Chloe's story, but it's a little bit weird considering that there's a comic book franchise that literally, or comic book series that literally continues the story of Max and Chloe in a sequel. Like, the Partners in Times, whatever it's called, is a sequel, I believe, the comic books. And they're remastering the original game, so clearly they have some interest. I'm assuming it is possible for them because I think Square Enix owns the right to Life is Strange, considering Dontnod Games is working on True Colors, but I do think it's possible, so we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that's clearly my opinion about Life is Strange 4, I guess you could say. I'm just gonna call it a new Life is Strange game. If you guys do enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe. It really helps our channel a lot, and we'll definitely be uploading some more Life is Strange True Colors video. I'm just trying to think of some ideas that you guys would be interested in. It's kind of hard because I do have some ideas, but I don't know if everyone will be interested in them, so I'm trying to like really like select like which one's like the best one to talk about. So that's kind of what I've been doing at the moment. But yeah, I hope to see you guys later in another video, and bye. Have a good day.